Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. In today's clip, I'll give you 5 good reasons that I think the DJI Air 2S is hands down the best drone flying today for the money. Now, I know this is going to be a really controversial clip because everybody out there's got their favorite drone, and I'm a huge fan of you flying whatever works for you. I mean, I fly all the drones on the market, the Anafi products, the Evo products, these guys, the Hoosebound products, but the Mavic Air 2S, to me, represents a near-perfect flying machine. Now, I'll get into the details behind that in a minute, but the reason I'm putting this clip together is because every springtime, our email box gets flooded with questions from viewers that have been saving up their money all winter and they've been thinking about getting into the hobby or thinking of upgrading their drone. And the question usually starts out, Rick, I've been saving my money all winter. I'm ready to buy a drone. Which drone should I buy? And that's an impossibly difficult question to answer because it depends on your budget, your experience flying, and what you're going to use the drone for. So for example, if you're a new flyer just thinking of getting into the hobby, first off, welcome to the hobby. But second, you might want to start with something smaller. So there are a lot of drones that are around the 249 gram weight, the Mini 2, that are reasonably priced that give you a ton of sophistication to get you into the hobby. And then once you get good flying that, you can step up to more sophisticated drones later on. Or maybe you're going to do commercial work. Maybe you're going to do real estate photos, or you're going to work with farmers and survey fields and things like that. Well, maybe the Mavic 2 Pro or Zoom or the Evo 2 works better for you there. Or maybe even the Anafi product. But if you're in the middle, sort of between these two categories, this Air 2S is going to be hard to beat for the money because what DJI's done with this drone, and it blows me away, is they've packed so much technology into this flying platform that I'm hard-pressed to realize what they could possibly do to upgrade this to make me wish the next drone was the one I bought. And I know there's a lot of rumors coming out around the Mavic 3, but if I'm in the engineering department at DJI and I've just released the Air 2S, what could I possibly do to this drone to make it that much better that it's worth the extra money? Because price-wise, say around $450, $499, about $1,000, so twice as much, $1,500, $1,600 over here. So you're spending a lot more here, and I'm telling you, the feature sets that are built in really eclipse a lot of what's going on over here. Now, this is much more expensive, so this is a trickier decision, and I've actually got a few clips coming out that compare these two to give you the differences between them, and also compare these two so you can make a decision if you're kind of between these two. Wait for those clips, and I'll give you the details between them. But honestly, right now, if you can afford this drone, I can't imagine something you'd want to have in a drone that isn't in this drone. Now, I'm going to evaluate this on 5 different categories because when I fly drones, I don't care about the hype. I don't care about the flashy videos that the companies put out or all the promotional things that are out there and even the other YouTube channels that talk about them. And I get accused a lot of being a drone fanboy for DJI, and I am, but I am because of the technology. And again, I fly all the drones. You can see a bunch of them behind me. The Skydio's back there, the Evo 2. I got a ton of Anafis, the Parrots. I've got a lot of products that I fly, and I like them all. I mean, they all fly well, they're great, but this is the latest iteration of what DJI has brought to market. And the features and functions built into this really eclipse all the other drones that are on the planet today. So I'll get into it in a second, but the 5 categories I care about are things that really relate to the drone. How well it flies, how long it flies, how far it flies, what kind of image quality can I get back, what kind of telemetry is connecting the controller to the unit, what kind of software is involved, is there safety features built in? So all those things go into my decisions when I'm buying a drone, and I'm telling you, they've ticked all the boxes with the Air 2S. It really does everything I needed to do. And if I'm being honest, this one's in my pocket a lot, this one's in my car a lot, this one's out in the field with me less and less because this does pretty much everything that does for me in a much smaller package that flies a little bit longer actually. So the first category I want to talk about is flight time, because when you buy a drone, you want to keep it in the air as long as you can and not have landing it, you know, and changing batteries out and all the rest of that stuff. Now, I know people are going to say 31 minutes isn't as long as some of the other drones can fly. Some can fly 40 minutes. Some of the smaller ones fly longer, but you have to remember that when you put a battery in a drone, it's not just the flying aspect of it that's drinking the electrons out of that battery, it's all the technology on board. And this thing is jam-packed with technology. It's got image sensors on it for crash avoidance. It's got ADS-B built in. It's got all kinds of brains for following you. It's got APAS 4.0, which is their crash avoidance technology. When it's following you, it's going to look for holes in the forest and not run into a tree. All of those technologies drink electrons. And honestly, the flight time on these drones, the modern drones that are out today, is pretty much right at the limit of what LiPo batteries can supply, because you've got this concept called energy density, where the weight of the battery for the amount of capacity the battery provides is the metric. It's called energy density. And these batteries are packing in as much as the LiPo technology can handle. Now, the next generation of battery, which may be an improvement on the Mavic 3, is a graphene battery. Maybe that's coming. That's going to give you a lot more energy density for the weight, so maybe that'll be something to go. But 31 minutes is plenty of time to fly the drone. And if you buy the drone, you're going to buy a couple extra batteries, buy a portable charger with you that you can charge them up in the field. You can keep the drone up in the air for hours, in an afternoon if you keep charging those batteries. So 31 minutes is plenty. It's long enough to fly. It's not quite as long as some of the others, but I think the trade-offs with the technology inside here more than make up for that little bit of less flying time. Second is flying distance. Now, this is a controversial subject because I'm not a huge fan of flying beyond visual line of sight. And I know a lot of channels like to buy a new drone, put it up in the air and see how far they can fly it just to see how far it'll fly. This will fly 7.5 miles with the signal connection still being strong. And I don't fly it anywhere near that long. I stay within visual line of sight. So for me, 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet with a beacon on the top of it, some kind of strobe light on the top of it is about as far as I can go. So the reason that distance is important is because even flying in close, I've got a lot of noise in the areas, a lot of Wi-Fi interference, and everything is on that band, right? It's an unregulated band, so you've got microwave ovens and Wi-Fi pops and Bluetooth, everything is in there, and it gets noisy. So imagine being at a party and you're talking to somebody and you've got 30 people around you all gabbing about something else, right? All that noise is difficult to pay attention to the person you're talking to. And if that person starts stepping back and gets 30 feet away from you, it's impossible to hear what they're saying. That's exactly what goes on with these Wi-Fi signals. So not only is it more powerful, which means you're going to have a rock solid signal in close, but it's OcuSync 3 for the video. So you're getting rock solid video back, and OcuSync 2 for the transmission topology, which means that, and it's brilliant, that transmission topology, the OcuSync transmission topology, is frequency hopping. So it's looking at all the frequencies that it could possibly talk to the drone at, and it's going to stay on the most popular one, or I should say the strongest one. And if that gets noisy for any reason, it's already got the next one ready to go. So it knows this is my most powerful signal. This one's the next most powerful signal. So if this gets scratchy and I can't talk to them, I'm going to jump to this channel, and they have a relationship they develop that OcuSync keeps them connected. So you're going to get great connection. You're going to get good flight time out of it. The next reason I put a drone up, I love flying them, so I would fly it if it didn't have a camera on it, but I love the fact that I can put it up over a forest, or I can put it up over a river or a lake, someplace I've never been before, and from 200 feet, capture amazing footage, pictures and video down there on the lake. And, again, when you get into these kind of technologies, 4K over here, but it's 30 frames a second. You can do 4K at 60 frames a second here. You can do 5.4K at 30 frames a second. Now, you may argue, well, gee, there are drones out there that do 8K. I'm here to tell you 8K is not ready for prime time yet. It's sort of like 5G. Everybody talks about 5G on the phones. If you've got a 5G phone and you're in a big city, probably doing 5G most of the time. But if you're anywhere other than those major cities, 5G is useless. 8K today, it works. It records at 8K. I've got the Evo 2 that records at 8K. It does a phenomenal job of recording that footage. But 8K is really overrated because most computers can't edit it today. And when you render it, you're going to probably render it down to 4K anyway. So having 4K at 60 frames a second means I get what I consider to be the best possible image out of this unit. And 5.4K takes it up a notch even beyond that. So I don't think you're going to be ready to go to 8K because the computers have to be upgraded, and that's an expensive operation. Really 8K for a couple of years yet, so this is going to suit you very well for the next couple of years. It's got a 1-inch sensor on it, which is the big thing that the Mavic 2 Pro did. When that came out with the 1-inch sensor, everybody went crazy, it's got a 1-inch sensor on it. Well, guess what? This one's got a 1-inch sensor on it, and it's $700 less than this one. So the sensing capabilities are important. The portability is another thing that is really important that a lot of people don't think about. Now, I'm not going to argue that these are necessarily less portable. This one is certainly more portable. It's tiny. When you fold this up, the amount of space it takes up, it's incredible, the package, the size of the package for the functionality you get out of it. So with the Air 2S, these two are pretty close, and this one's a little bit larger. So I'm not going to pick on this one, but what you have to remember is you're not just taking the drone with you. You're taking the drone, you're taking the batteries, you're taking the controller. So everything is bigger. Everything's more expensive in this case, it's heavier in this case, less expensive in this case, smaller, less expensive still, smaller. So I feel like, again, I use that Goldilocks zone analogy a lot. I mean, this is right in the middle. And if you look at this, I mean, standing up, this thing is about the size of a sneaker. So if I've got that and I've got the controller, these two units can fit in any bag I've got. They're not going to take up a ton of space, and the portability is definitely there. Now, the reason portability is important is because when you fly a drone, and I've flown a lot of big drones, like I've got Inspires, I've got the Phantom products all the way from the Phantom 2 all the way up through the Phantom 4 Pro V2, and I love the Phantom products, but they're fixed air wing, right? They're fixed frame, so carrying that along, it's a big decision because you got a big hard case the size of a suitcase you got to drag along with you. So what I find is when you fly those bigger drones, even though you get better quality images because it's got a mechanical shutter on it, it's a pain in the neck to bring along. You got to think about it. Oh man, I got to bring that along with the batteries and stuff. So you're going to leave it home an awful lot. Having a drone that's smaller, like any of these three, but particularly this one, means I don't have to think about it. It's in my bag. It goes with me everywhere, which means I'm going to get more shots. I'm not going to have to worry about, oh man, what a beautiful day, what a beautiful sunset. My drone's at home in the basement. You'll have this with you more often. So portability is a huge difference. Now, if you're flying in countries where there's a 250 gram limit to where you need to be registered and go through all kind of testing, the Mini 2 is definitely a better solution. But in the States, you can fly this. Okay, you got to register it, right? Big deal. It's a $5 charge. You get on the website, takes 30 seconds to do it. One time, $5, you can fly all the drones you own. So for me, the registration in the States is not that big a deal, but I think this product gives you a lot more flexibility because it's more stable in the air. This is a little less stable in the air when you get into high winds. I just like a bigger drone like this. And again, the portability between these two is close enough where it's not that big a deal for me. The last thing I'll talk about is technology, because anytime you consider a drone, a lot of things come into play. It's not just how well the drone flies, how long it flies, what kind of image you get, but if the software is goofy, and I'm here to tell you, a lot of the drone companies out there have really, really goofy software, which doesn't give you a lot of control over what the drone's doing and how you can configure the drone, and it's complicated to use. What DJI has really done in this generation of drone has taken all of their learnings from the past generations of drones and built them in to the DJI Fly app, to where it not only protects you from dangerous things happening, but it also puts you in a situation where if you're sort of a novice pilot and you're not that great yet at the thumbs, using the thumbsticks to circle something or fly away from something, you can hit a few buttons, the drone will go into autonomous mode and it'll fly away from you, it'll circle you. Even better, this has master shots built in, which is a brand new technology from DJI that basically says, look, I want you to capture me. I'm going to sit here on this beautiful rock on the shoreline with all this beautiful stuff behind me, hit a button, let master shots run through a series of flight patterns that are pre-programmed, taking a video of you, keeping you centered in the shot, and then sewing those together very quickly so you can post them to any of your social media platforms. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't do it with these, but until you get really good on the joysticks, it's tricky. I'm telling you, it's tricky. If you've got a lighthouse, to spin around that lighthouse and keep that lighthouse in the center of the frame, why not use the autonomous mode? So really smart, brilliant, really smart. And I know it sounds like, why isn't that brilliant? It's because the DJI Fly app has got master shots and a bunch of other stuff built into it. Another feature I like an awful lot that's built into this technologically is the ADS-B notifications. Now, if you're not familiar with ADS-B, there's a beacon in most airplanes that are broadcasting their position, their telemetry, their speed, their heading, all that stuff that you can pick up if you have a receiver. Now, a lot of pilots out there will carry a portable ADS-B receiver so they know if there are other aircraft in the area. You don't have to worry about that anymore. This has it built into the drone, so it's constantly listening for that beacon. If an airplane's over the horizon and it's heading your way, you're going to know really far away that there's a plane heading your direction, and you can drop your drone down. So again, another safety feature that's going to ensure that if you're flying anywhere that there are other airplanes flying, and that's pretty much everywhere, it's going to let you know there are airplanes in the area. Now, you may be thinking, Rick, it's never going to be a problem. I stay under 400 feet. Well, that's true, but if you fly near the shore, there are helicopters with sightseeing tours going on, airplanes that are dragging those ridiculous banners behind them at the shore, buy this or buy that, and they're under 400 feet. And if they're landing or taking off, or if they're crop dusting, like in my area, I'm around a lot of farms, those planes are below 400 feet. So I want to know where those planes are coming from. And more than once, flying near a farm, I've gotten a warning and I didn't even hear the engine yet. And sure enough, I'll lower it down and brrr, comes the airplane, right? So ADS-B is really important. If you're looking for other autonomous features, the APAS 4.0 is spooky. It's absolutely spooky on how well it can track you while it's avoiding other things. And I mentioned before about how the batteries can drain. That APAS 4.0 is a very sophisticated mechanism and technology built into it where it's watching you. And if you're walking through the woods, it's going to not only follow you like rock solid, like the Terminator, but it's going to dodge trees. So it knows the environment around you, and it knows that's a solid object. He's walking this direction. Let me find a hole that I can follow him and follow him through that hole. So APAS 4.0 is the latest instantiation of that. And again, that's the 4th generation of that technology. And the last thing is crash avoidance. Now, as you become a better pilot, it becomes less important. But if you're just starting out, or if you're flying around a really crowded area, or in the woods, or you're near a lot of wires and things like that, this has multi-directional crash avoidance. So it's front, it's back, it's down, and it's up, which is unique. It doesn't do the sides yet, but you know, if you slide into something sideways, shame on you. You should be checking that. You should be checking your heading on the side. But I think four-way crash avoidance is something that really is beneficial. And believe me, it saved me more than once where I'm flying. Now the Air 2 didn't have the above. It had front, back, and down. The Air 2S has above. More than once I've elevated up trying to get that perfect shot looking down at something, and like a goofball, didn't look above me, and there's a branch hanging out there, and I hit the branch. Now luckily it recovered and didn't crash, but having that multi-directional crash avoidance I think is a big bonus. So all those things being equal, I know this is not an inexpensive drone. I mean, $900 or $1,000 is a lot of money, but if you're investing in a technology, you want to make sure you buy something today that will last a couple of years. You don't want to buy it and the next year be seduced by something else and go, darn, why did I buy that Air 2S? Darn you, Rick, you talked me into it. But I'm here to tell you, the tech that's built into this, I say this every time and I get grief for it, but as an engineer, I look at the nerdy stuff. I can't imagine if I were sitting down with a drawing board completely blank and I had a team of engineers ready to go, what could I do to improve this to entice you to buy the next generation? Okay, graphene battery's pretty cool, but I wouldn't be surprised if a graphene battery comes out and they build one that fits in the Air 2S. I mean, it's just a battery pack, it's just an energy source. But okay, maybe graphene batteries. 8K, I already talked about that. There are drones out that do 8K today. I think it's overrated. I think it's a great technology. It's not ready for prime time yet. So 5.4K is right in that consumer space where you're going. 31 minutes of flight time, again, battery dependent. That's plenty of time up in the air. And the nice thing is, the unit itself is relatively inexpensive compared to the enterprise products. But again, all the accessories you're going to buy for it, the extra batteries, the propellers, the cases, are going to be less expensive as well. So I think all things being equal, this is a near perfect drone. And again, I'm going to be really curious to see if that Mavic 3 ever materializes or Phantom 5 materializes, what could they possibly do with that airframe that would mean, oh man, I wish I'd waited for that. Don't wait for that. Summer's going to burn past this really quick. We're already into the end of April. No, we're in May. Oh my gosh, this whole summer's going fast. We're in May. So get out there and start flying. If you can afford this one, get it. If you can't afford this one, get this one. If you can't afford this one, find something else you can afford. But for me, every time I do these clips, I think to myself, why am I here doing this clip? I should be outside flying. But every time I put a drone up, I'm smiling like an idiot like I am right now because I love flying. It is such a liberating experience and it just lowers your stress levels. It's the hobby that just keeps giving back. And I've been doing it for a lot of years and I'm telling you, it doesn't wear off. When you get that bug, you're gonna be out there flying like crazy. So if you're thinking about getting into the hobby, great place to start. If you're in the hobby and you're looking for something really cool and you're worried like, oh, the Mavic 3, forget the Mavic 3. Start with the Air 2S. It's the one to fly today, and you're never going to be sorry about that. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today. Now, as I say every time, if you enjoyed the clip, drop some comments below. Let us know if you've got any questions about anything I've covered. If you want to have a little debate over this one versus that one, I'm not big on that my dad can beat up your dad debate, but if you want to start one of those conversations, I'm happy to entertain it. If you need accessories for any of these drones, we test all the accessories that are out for these drones. We spend a lot of time testing accessories. The website has accessories for the Mini, Mini 2, the Air 2, Air 2S, the Mavic series of products. So if you need something, check the website. Pricing's really good. We deliver stuff really quickly. We ship every day from New Jersey, so we'll get it to you pretty much quicker than Amazon will. So anyway, that's it for today. So thanks an awful lot for watching. And again, until next time, happy flying.